Okay, this is Kyle Green for CS352, doing a presentation here for the final project. For our final project, we did a meal planning app where the users can browse for recipes, upload their own recipes, create shopping lists from saved recipes and their ingredients. And our target audience is anyone who is old enough to go shopping and prepare meals, so teenagers and older. This will help users who view meal planning as overwhelming due to time, money, choices, and being unfamiliar with cooking. So our first page here is the login registration page. And so feedback from our formative research usability test noted that we needed to include a pop-up keyboard for interaction. So we did this for the username field. So if I click that here, you can see this pop-up keyboard, and it actually has working keys, so I can, put in like hi there. That's not a real username, but you get the idea, and then log in. If I go back and log out and go similarly to the register to a new user page, I can click here. It's going to have the same name, just that's a limitation of the prototype itself. But this follows with Nielsen's heuristic number 1, visibility of system status, because you can see the keys as you're hitting them typed in, and match between system and real world, because a user that is clicking on these fields up here would expect some pop-up keyboard to happen. And then consistent number 4, consistency and standards. So if we register, it takes us to the preferences page, which is also the profile button down here in the bottom right. So the logout button that was on the bottom navigation bar previously in a prior design was moved to this profile page. You can see the logout button here in the bottom, near the bottom left of the screen. This was due to some feedback on the design gallery prototype and follows Nielsen's heuristic number 5, error prevention. When it was down here, it was very easy for someone to accidentally click the logout button. So it's just located now in the profile page here, and we've modified these 4 bottom navigation buttons to for more browsing, better browsing, we'll just say. And so, yeah, that was in response to heuristic number 5, error prevention, and the preferences pages was added overall here due to dietary restrictions being shown as an important consideration for meal planning as part of one of our team members' secondary research in the generative research report. So, users could, if they had allergies to gluten or something like that, or other diet restrictions, they could select those, and that follows Nielsen's heuristic number 7, flexibility and efficiency of use, as allows the user to tailor recipe selection to only include recipes with their specific needs. As I was mentioning, the bottom 4 navigation buttons, this is also the first page a user has access to those after logging in. Originally we had 3 buttons, which I alluded to. We had a browse button, we had a shopping list, and a logout button. These have been transformed into the 4 that you see before you. Browse and shopping list have remained, but using icons as driving factor with less text, and these larger icons are here, which follows Nielsen's heuristic number 2, match between system and real world, and number 4, consistency and standards. As previously mentioned, the logo button is off of the navigation bar, and it's right here, just above it. And then the planner page will be talked about in a different section later. So if we click Save Preferences here, it takes you to the what type of dish page. This page has undergone a few redesigns as well. Initially it had fewer categories here up above. than what's now present. It was missing the ability to add a new recipe if a user wanted, so this add new recipe button up here. And then as you navigate through the categories, such as browsing to dinner, like here, we now have back buttons. So if you see up by dinner options, there's this back button to take you back to the previous screen. This was based upon feedback received from the design gallery prototype and follows Nielsen's heuristic number 3, user control and freedom, and number 5, error prevention, meaning that, you know, if you didn't want to go to dinner options and you wanted to instead pick like a snack, there wasn't previously an easy way to get back, but now with the back button there is. So basically without these back buttons, the user could get stuck on one track and couldn't return without starting completely over. So as we progress through to the beef recipes here, again, the back button is present here, so you can go backwards if you need to. In addition, we made good use of color and photos as we get into the actual where the recipes live. This was noted in the 7 universal design principles under Principle 4, perceptible information. So we also added in information for preparation time and difficulty of meal. So if we keep going to the beef crunchy tacos here, it has the prep time of 20 minutes, the cook time, and total time, which is right here it has just the total time, but it's split out, and also the difficulty level of easy. This was noted in our primary research as being important to users in the target demographic. This is also a good time to show the scrolling recipe pages. So as I am browsing this recipe, if I wanted to scroll down and look at the instructions or something like that, or scroll back up and see the ingredients, all the information is presented in a clean format without a lot of extra bloat. Our primary research showed that bloat is a significant concern to users. Users did not like having extra information not related to the preparation of the recipe itself. As an example, like a personal story tied to the recipe. In addition, all of the recipe directions are easy to read and in a well-presented format. So, as you're looking at this recipe, it has clear sections, bullet points, and, numbered instructions. That follows the universal design principle number 3, simple and intuitive to use, and number 4, perceptible information. And then the scrolling functionality itself falls under Nielsen's heuristic number 1, visibility of system status, so you can see where you are kind of in the recipe. And then, as we look at these other buttons up here, we have add to meal planner and add to shopping list. If we were to click the add to shopping list button here, you see this pop-up. The stuff in the background kind of fades back just a little bit, and you have this colorful pop-up that notifies you that ingredients have been added to the shopping list. This follows Nielsen's heuristic number 1, visibility system status, so people know that something's happening. The user can then either click the view shopping list button here to go to the shopping list, or click elsewhere to return to the screen. So if I click elsewhere, it'll take me back, but if I click this button, add to shopping list, and click view shopping list, it actually takes me over to the shopping list area. This was done based on feedback from the design gallery prototype, where users noted that they wanted to continue to view the recipe rather than, or they might want to continue to view the recipe rather than jump directly to the shopping list. And that falls under Nielsen's heuristic number 3, user control and freedom. Assuming the user now does want to go to the shopping list here, where we're at, you can see a scrolling window that shows a list of items grouped by categories such as produce, dairy, etc. The list is grouped in this way to match what real pen and paper shopping lists often look like, and to follow Nielsen's heuristic number 4, consistency and standards. So I can scroll down here, and you can see canned goods, frozen foods, beverages, condiments, what have you, and scroll back up to produce and dairy and all of that. If we go back to the beef crunchy tacos, so if I go back and navigate to the beef crunchy tacos recipe here, There was also the Add to Meal Planner button that I mentioned. So if we click on that, it takes you to this Add Recipe to Meal Planner screen. It's kind of an intermediate screen where a user can choose to add the tacos to a day and meal such as Sunday dinner. So if we pick dinner and we pick Sunday, then it has this option again to view the meal planner. So let's go ahead and do that. So that will take us to the weekly meal planner, which is also accessible by clicking this planner button. So if I hit browse and then back to planner, it takes us to the same screen. This page is, like I said, accessible from those different buttons that previously mentioned. But if you'll note here, the beef crunchy tacos Sunday, the third meal, which presumably is dinner in this case, it shows the beef crunchy tacos, and you are able to link back to the page here. So if we click that, it takes us back, and then I can go back to the planner here. So we have a link there. This follows Nielsen's heuristic number 3, user control and freedom, and number 7, flexibility and efficiency of use. There's also another nice use of color here and imagery, photos, which, as previously mentioned, follows Universal Design Principle 4, perceptible information. Users can quickly scan the weekly meals that have been added to the meal plan and go to the recipe. So, you can scroll down and see, theoretically, some days have all the meals added and some only have some of them added at this point with the link to the beef crunchy tacos. And then finally, there's an Add All to Shopping List button, which will show a pop-up that notifies the user that an action has occurred. So if we click on that, successfully added all to shopping list, and we can view the shopping list. This follows Nielsen's heuristic number 1, visibility of system status. The user can either click the View Shopping List button to go there, or click elsewhere to return to the recipe, as was shown previously. So if I clicked elsewhere, I can click on it again, to show that, or I can click the View Shopping List button and go back to the shopping list here. That shows all of our theoretical items on our shopping list. Since this is used in the same way as this Add All to Shopping List button is used in the same way in multiple locations, this follows Nielsen's heuristic number 4, consistency and standards, and number 6, recognition rather than recall, in addition to number 3, which is user control and freedom. And so with that, that is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.